will always remember this as the day that you set sail with Captain Jack Sparrow.
Ahoy there, mateys. Welcome to episode number 3 of Inside the Toy Box. This show is part of the Disney Infinity TV network of podcast and entertainment. They also launched a brand new website, DisneyInfinity.tv. You should definitely check it out. It's a great new website for all your Disney Infinity entertainment needs. Also, a very close partnership with my home and my family, the Disney Infinity Fans Forums. That's DisneyInfinityFans.com. It's a great community. You can meet friends, trade Power Disc, and it is also Toy Box Artist Central. We currently have 44 featured Toy Box artists. It's a lot. And it's also 75% of the downloadable Toy Boxes to date. So definitely a cool place to go if you have any interest in Toy Box building, because there's a lot of people talk about it, and you learn from the people that have been doing it for months now. So definitely check that out. Well, today on our show we have a very special guest. I have with me Mr. Tyler Cole. He also might be known as Tyforce to you. He is a 3-time featured Toy Box artist, and he happens to work for Avalanche now. So welcome, Tyler.
Thanks. It's awesome to be a part of this.
Yeah, you've been a long-time listener of the Inside Infinity show. So
Yeah.
when I heard you got your job at Avalanche, I knew we had to have you a part of this show.
Yeah, it's all come together quite nicely, and it's good to be here.
So what made you start to get into building toy boxes? What made you want to enter a challenge?
Honestly, I'm an illustrator. I went to school for art and illustration. I've done graphic design. I'd like to think that I have a few creative bones in my body, I've played some other games that have had user-generated content, and I enjoyed playing through those and making my own levels, and just the fact that being able to create levels and also it's Disney themed, it just seemed like something I'd be really interested in, and so that's where I pretty much got started.
That's great. And so the good part about you as well is that Avalanche just happened to be in your backyard of Salt Lake City, Utah. So when the opportunity opened up for you to apply there, that had to be a dream. You didn't even have to move. That's incredible.
Yeah, it takes me just under 20 minutes to drive to work now.
That's fantastic, and you get to play video games for a living. What does your wife think of that?
She loves it. I don't know that she's jealous. I mean, she's not a gamer, but she's definitely supportive of me. She's happy that I have a job that I'm doing what I love, and I get paid for it. So she's happy.
Yeah, she's got to be pretty happy that you're playing video games at work instead of at home now, right?
Yeah. Honestly, I've played much less in the video game area at home now that I've been playing them so much at work. So I'm sure she appreciates it.
So what is the name of the team that you're on for Avalanche, and what's your title, and what do you do?
I got hired on as an associate level designer. It's me and 4 other guys, and we make up the community team, the Toy Box community team. It's one of those 2, but that's us.
And what's it like going into work with 4 other people, and just you get to play video games all day and joke around?
It's great. We are all in the same room. We're all working on like different levels and different projects, but they're somewhat related, and it's really awesome. Everyone you can see has their own strengths, and every day it's just bouncing cool ideas off of each other and asking for each other's ideas and thoughts, and seeing something that someone else is working on and being like, oh, that's awesome, I'd like to incorporate that, and then maybe put my own little personal twist on it. It's nothing but fun all day long there.
Yeah, seriously, totally living the dream there. That's a dream job. So you had 3 featured toy boxes before you got picked up to work for Avalanche. Do you want to tell us about those? Unfortunately, they have been retired, but that doesn't mean they weren't awesome. So if you want to go ahead and tell us about some of them, going with your first one.
Well, yeah, I appreciate the compliment of them being awesome. Yeah, the first one that I had won, it was actually my very first submission. It was the first one I created and submitted, and I felt like it kind of put me on my high horse at first. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have these winning levels every week, and I just got super excited. Kind of silly, but the first one was Touch the Light, and it was part of the, I believe it, oh man, time has just flown by since then. I think it was the Monstrous Pranks Challenge, and with that, I remember trying to come up with an idea for it. And I know that I'm not a fan of mazes in levels. I didn't want to run around because I'm terrible with like directions. I get lost easily, and I didn't want to like backtracking and redoing, like having to like, oh, it killed you and you have to start over from the beginning. Even though my level does do that once, but I wanted. So I know I didn't want that. And so I started playing with the idea of like being able to, you have something right in front of your face, but it keeps eluding you, and you can't quite get to it. And so I had this idea of Touch the Light. And I think in the comments that the game allows you to put in, it's like, touch the light, simple enough, right? And then it's a lot more complicated than it looks, where you have this light you're trying to get to. I think at the very beginning, you start off the level, you see the light, you take like 5 steps, and you die randomly, and then it spawns you back, and you get a little closer, then the floor drops out from underneath you just before getting to it, and so I was trying to come up with creative ways of preventing you from getting to the light just before getting to it. One of the big things of the level was the spring room, which I just from the things I've heard was like a big hit with kids. They enjoyed running into there, and like the room has these springs that I put a floor panel down so you couldn't see them. They're those prank sewers from the Monsters University, and so you couldn't see them with the floor there, so you run in and you just get launched. And then I just chained a bunch of them that launched you around, and if you're, I think in the comments I put have patience and be observant in the spring room, because I was worried that part of the level people were just going to get frustrated and give up because they wouldn't know what to do, and so I gave a hint at that. And then if you do have patience and spring around the room, it unlocks a hint on how to get to the light, and of course once you get there it disappears. And then I had this corridor that once you'd see a light at the end of the tunnel, and as you're running to it, I had some replayers set up that would clear it out, and then it would show up again further away, and I did that a couple times. And then I was trying to figure out how to end the level, and I thought, well, these people are trying to touch this light, and I don't know if, I know this isn't the most kid-friendly game, but BioShock, you've been playing through this level and you're constantly being told what to do, but you don't really know why you're doing it, and then at the end you find out that there's bad intentions. So I started thinking, well, these people are trying to touch this light, but why? Why are they trying to? And I started thinking, well, how could I get them? And my first idea was I was gonna build a giant toilet bowl, and when they touched the light, it was gonna show them like dropping into it from a camera far away. It's like, you touch the light, and I dropped you in a toilet. But I was like, well, I don't know how well the toilet humor would go over, and so I had the idea to do the Rickroll. And now, granted, I know not everybody knows the Rickroll joke, but I figured I'd put it in there. And when I saw that it had won, I started thinking, well, I think the right audience, the gamers, the developers, they've got to know what. Yeah, there we go. Never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down, never gonna run around and desert you. And I was hoping that would translate because, of course, we don't have the rights to Rick Astley and Disney Infinity, and so I switched it to I think like probably some of the cheesiest music, just the Phineas and Ferb, because the entire level is just kind of like this mystical music playing, and then it jumps to this wow chicka wow wow kind of goofy music, and with those lyrics, I was hoping to pull that off.
And you did, and I know I've said it before that that was one of the most creative ways to end a toy box, because most people would just shoot off fireworks that I've seen with different toy boxes. So it was refreshing to see somebody else find a good way to end the toy box. So I think your Rickroll was pretty brilliant there, and well placed. And yeah, that was a Monstrous Pranks challenge, and for your first toy box submission to get first place is pretty incredible.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. I remember it was, like I said, it was my first level, and a few funny things have sprung from this. I remember loading up the game, and I'm like, my wife's name's Anna, spoiler alert. I was like, Anna, it came in first, and I was just on cloud nine and super excited, and so I posted on Facebook, and the next day when Toy Box TV came out and it had a clip of my level, I posted all over Facebook, and I had friends and family seeing it, and they were all freaking out, and like the comments, a couple people were like, oh, so they're probably going to hire you for a job now, huh? Like, that's not really how it works.
That's how it works, because you got a job there from. But that wasn't your only featured toy box. And I have to say that one of the reasons why I remembered that it got first was because I got fifth in that challenge with my Gravity Falls toy box. So you whooped me in that one. But so, what was your second featured toy box?
My second one was Happy Place. I titled it Happy Places, and it was part of the Disney Princess competition. And I didn't want it to just be themed off of like, I didn't want to give it an excuse to just make like a movie themed toy box. I was trying to figure out how can I make it specific to a princess. And once I came to that idea, I didn't know which princess to choose, and I have 3 favorite princesses, and this got to be a little more of a personal decision. My favorite princesses are Ariel. She was my favorite ever since I was a little kid, and since there's been a few others. I really enjoyed Tangled. I just love the character of Rapunzel, and I'm a huge fan of Wreck-It Ralph, so got my Fix-It Felix hat on. And Vanellope was an awesome character, so I knew I wanted to do something with those 3, and so I tried to come up with a common ground between them, and I don't know how. I honestly don't remember. I think I probably landed on the Happy Places thing because of Ariel and her little cave underwater, and so I thought, well, maybe they all have their happy places, and so then I tried figuring out how to tie them all together, and so the first I felt clever idea was putting all those fans underneath the floor with the under the water sky dome, and so it give the illusion that you're swimming, and then you drop her off in her pen, and then I actually ran into quite a few complications with this level because there were so many different times the sky dome had to change, and with the sky changer you can't control what's coming up next. So when the times you're inside an area and you're not outside looking at the sky, I was trying to change the sky dome to what I wanted it to look like by the time. So for instance, like you're underwater and it changes a couple times, then once you get to the Vanellope section, it should look like you're inside the Fix-It Felix Jr. game with that sky dome, and then kind of like the night sky, majestical, enchanting sky dome once you're riding around with Rapunzel at the end. And and once it won, I had watched gameplay videos of people playing through the level, and it was just, I was still surprised that it had won because I felt like it was such a train wreck. Every video I watched of other people playing online, the Sky Changer was acting up, and you get to the end, and like you're riding with Rapunzel on a horse through like the village and stuff, and there's like a raging tornado in the background. I'm like, this is not a happy place at all. And
that's funny you mentioned YouTube videos, because I remember the first few toy boxes I had that got featured. That was the thing I was most excited to view, was the YouTube videos, and I thought it was so cool. I made this game, and people are playing it, and they're making videos and doing reviews and walkthroughs. And then after a couple of them, when I would see they would have an issue with the toy boxes, I would get so mad that I'd eventually just stop watching them. And I'd be happy that they would post something, but hopefully, and a lot of them I'd watch them play, and hopefully it doesn't mess up or the replayer works right. So I know watching the YouTube videos after getting a featured toy boxes was always a good reward for getting a toy box featured.
Yeah. The one thing I always felt like when watching and playing through other people's levels, for instance, I feel bad, but whoever won the Disney Parks Challenge 2 with the Soarin' Over California,
Turner Brothers.
Yes, the part where the golf ball comes flying at you, and that totally reminded me of a section in my Happy Places. Like after I played through that level with it, with their toy box, when the golf ball flew past me, I'm like, they were super excited. Like I bet they were so excited for people to experience that. Like they captured a moment awesome, like just perfectly. And I was like, they were probably super excited to see the reactions of people and hearing the comments. And for me, I was super excited for the falling Mentos. I'm not trying to brag, but I kind of am. I was super excited when I came up with the idea for the falling Mentos, and I wanted to do golf balls, but they were just too small. For falling in the lava in Vanellope's little happy place there in the volcano, I just really thought that was a cool part of the toy box, and I'm always excited to see that kind of stuff in other people's toy boxes as well. Like sometimes they have a great idea and they execute it so well, just like the golf ball. It was a really nice touch in that level.
Yeah, and the Mentos was brilliant. Good. Whenever you can recreate a movie using the toy box is fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so Tyler, you had a third feature toy box. What was your third feature toy box themed after?
My third featured toy box and my final went out with a bang here was the Unbuildinator. I did it for the Phineas and Ferb challenge, and with the Phineas and Ferb challenge, I wanted to recreate an episode from Phineas and Ferb. I mean, no in particular one, but just kind of like what happens in an episode. And in every episode, Phineas and Ferb are off working on a project, and Harry ducks out, and he's called to the agency by Major Monogram to go and stop Doofenshmirtz and take down one of his innators that's wreaking havoc on the tri-state area. And so I kind of wanted to recreate the Perry, the Agent P side of the episode. And so, I mean, you can play through the episode with whoever you want, but it's definitely meant to play through with Agent P. And so what I did was I recreated their house. I mean, I tried to do some homework and trying to figure out what the inside is to match it as close as possible. And I know I didn't, but just to give it the illusion of their house. And Agent P is always ducking out into a secret or a hidden entrance into the agency, and I tried to make a game of it by making the character look for like hidden buttons throughout the house, and once you stepped on all of them, it opened up the secret entrance, and then you drop down a tunnel into the agency like Perry does so well, and you land. If you're right in the middle of the tunnel, you can land right on the seat, just like he does in the episodes. And there I created the gigantic block art of Major Monogram to kind of represent the large screen that he always gives the orders to, gives the orders to Agent P from. And from there, you ship off to Doofenshmirtz Evil Incorporated, and you teleport into like a storage area, and you've got to climb up into some air ducts, and just like Doofenshmirtz style, when Agent P enters the room, he gets trapped instantly whenever he enters the room. So when you drop down out of the duct, you've got these barriers surrounding you, and you've got to hit a target to clear them out, and then you fight some robots, and Doofenshmirtz drops in, and you can grab them, and you can just step on a button to end the level, or if you want, you can. There's like a field goal post I set up there. I felt like I kind of rushed the ending, and I think that at this time in my life, I was pretty busy at work, and so I felt like I just tried to rush to get it done, and so I just have these field goal posts. You can punt Doofenshmirtz through the uprights and kick him out of the top of the building, and I think I have like a crowd cheer when they do it, and when you step on the button to destroy the Inator, it shows a camera on the backyard of Phineas and Ferb's level, and I just had a replayer build up the giant water slide thing as if this Unbuildinator kept. Oh, I guess I did leave one part out. At the very beginning of the level, if you walk outside, you can see like a construction area build up, and then it disappears, and that's to elude the fact that Dr. Doof's Unbuildinator deleted it, and so at the end it gets built, and Phineas and Ferb hop in with on parachutes on top of their big project they completed. Now that the Unbuildinator's not there to stop them.
It sounds like an episode to me. I think you did a good job with that one, especially the Monogram block art. That was cool. It actually felt like you dropped down in front of the big TV, and awesome toy box as usual.
Thank you.
So now we're at the part of the show where we like to give our listeners and our viewers some tips and tricks of the toy box that they might not know of. So you can give one, and then will give one. So what do you have for our peeps?
For our peeps, I've got a cool thing, and I apologize if anybody already knows this or has figured it out, but I'll try and make it common knowledge here for everybody who's watching. The trick that I'm going to talk about is with the Recognizer and the Light Runner. I created a level for Tron, and we can talk about this at another time, but at the end I created a giant boss fight against the Master Control Program, and I put area triggers up in front of its face. And I'm flying around in a Recognizer, and I'm shooting it, and when the Recognizer's bullets, or bits, or whatever they are that go flying through, those will trigger an area trigger. And I was actually at work the other day, and I was trying to recreate a similar thing on the toy box I'm working on at work. And I was talking with one of the developers, and or one of the programmers, and I was telling him how, oh yeah, well in the first one, you could fire, and when the fire would go through the area trigger, it would trigger an area trigger. He's like, in the first one? He was kind of confused. I'm like, yeah, I even created a toy box. He's like, I've never known it to do that. So I was testing it out at work and shooting a gun through area triggers, and just was not happening. And then I busted out the Recognizer and the Light Runner, and their bullets totally do. They'll trigger an area trigger. So my tip and trick are those two. If you ever want to create something that, like, for instance, with my toy box, a giant face, if you're trying to create a large boss, their bullets on those two vehicles, I don't think anything else will trigger those area triggers. So I had it set up just to, like, 200 things. I had them set up to a counter, like 200 things had to go through those area triggers, and so you had to, like, hit the face 200 times. It really made for a really cool effect. But if you haven't known that, well, hopefully now you do.
I got a picture of your Tron one right here that I'm about to show in a second. Which really good work of the villain from the first Tron. So that is the Master Control Program, right?
That is, yep, that's the MPC himself. Or the
so that's what you were shooting your little pellets at from the Recognizer?
Yeah, there's a recognizer that spawns up ahead, and then you hop in it and blast away at that massive face.
And then what happens?
Um,
This is one of your unfeatured toy boxes that you submitted for the Tron Challenge, right?
It is. In this level, you approach NCOM and you make it all the way to the top, and what happens, I don't know if you saw on the side of that image, there were those ridges, and I have a bunch of turrets spawn in, and then there's a wall that gets built in behind you, so you're trapped in that area. Yeah, there you go. There's a crazy picture. But you're flying around, and these things are shooting at you, and you just have to sit there and blast. Like I said, you have to hit that thing in the face 200 times. So you can't see it because I don't have the wand out, but I have 9 area triggers on the front of that face, and every time one of your bullets goes through it tallies it up. You could also fly through it, but that would take forever. And then once you do defeat it, like, it explodes and disappears, and so it just looks like broken glass behind it. But yeah, even the programmers at Avalanche did not know that the recognizer bits and the light runner bits could trigger an area trigger.
Well, I'm glad you're able to show them that. That's really cool. Here's a picture of when you actually shoot through the bad guy there.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool how you had the glass break.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so that was a good tip and trick. My tip and trick would have to be something I learned when I was doing the obstacle course challenge. So I always say testing is one of the main things you have to do for your toy box to make it complete. You need to test everything to make sure it works. So what I learned is from my obstacle course challenge that I didn't do my due diligence on testing, because I test with one of the taller characters, Jack Sparrow or Sully or somebody like that. So if you were Mike, it was harder to do some of these obstacles in the challenge. So when you're doing your testing, maybe do your testing as a tall person, tall figure, and one of the shorter figures like Mike or Phineas or Agent P. So that way, no matter who your players select, they'll be able to complete the challenge. The more you know.
Little star.
So that's our tips and tricks. You had another feature toy box we were going to talk about, your Muppets.
Oh yes, I did a Muppet Vision 3D toy box for the. Honestly, I submitted it to the Muppets Challenge, but this was before I knew how to submit, or should I say when to submit, and I submitted it late because I didn't know this was actually before the Touch the Light, but I didn't know what I was doing at that point in my life when it came to submitting toy boxes. But I had the idea of, like, the Muppet Vision Theater had been taken over by all sorts of enemies from the Disney Infinity World, and so they come in waves, and I think there's 9 waves total, and so the idea was it takes place inside this big theater, and so every time the Sky Dome changes, it made it look like a different image on the screen. And so with each wave of enemies, the Sky Changer would change, and it would leave a different image on the screen technically, which it came across this really cool idea. Like, for instance, this image here, you're totally watching a video of, like, a planet, and apparently someone's hucking a bomb at me. And so the idea was that Muppet Vision 3D had been taken over, and the Muppets had been they had to leave because it was no longer safe for them to be in the theater. And then down at the bottom of the area, there's Statler and Waldorf, and they're trapped inside these boxes. And after you defeat an X amount of waves, those boxes would clear out. And then I created some platforms on the side, and you had to run them up to their little balcony seats that when they entered a contest and lost and got those seats. That's a little hint there for a Muppet Vision joke. And so once all's said and done, like the last wave is just like total chaos, and I made it super hard. There's bots everywhere attacking. Yeah, my wife took this picture of me playing, and she's quite proud of the fact that I had 6 lasers pointed at me, attacking me. So that's kind of an idea of what the end of the level is. And once you clear out all these guys, the sky changes to something happy, and it shows I had like an interesting contraption set up where all the 3 Muppets, Animal, Miss Piggy, and Kermit, they're on a conveyor belt, but there's like, I have like a block blocking them. Then once you win, that block goes away, so the conveyor belt like drops them down in front of the screen. And I have some super cannons, so they come like floating down on the screen, and they get launched into the theater by the cannons, and they land in like a little area in the theater. And then fireworks, yes, fireworks to end the level. And then it says the end up in the sky. So it looks like it says the end on the theater screen.
That's very cool. I mean, that could have been Muppets Challenge or either of the 2 Disney Park ones. So that's cool. At least you have it on your saved under your profile, so you can play that one, or your wife can play it since she's so proud of that shot she took. You getting shot by 6 lasers. So that's cool. Your favorite character for Disney Infinity 1 was who?
It was Vanellope von Schweetz.
Yeah, she's good. Those little cherry bombs she throws are really cool. So Disney Infinity 2.0, from the announced characters, who is your favorite one to play as so far, since you play Disney Infinity for at least 8 hours a day?
You know, I've played with quite a few, but I try and stick with just one because like I'm super excited for the game to come out, and I really want to like play as all the characters then. So from a day-to-day basis, I pretty much play as Nova. You know, I'm testing my levels out constantly, and he's a flying character, so he can get to places that some of the non-flying characters can't. So I find him a really good character just to test with, and you know, he's kind of based off the Nova from Ultimate Spider-Man, and he's kind of a smart aleck. So he has some fun comments that come up every now and then that he makes, and he glows, like, you know, he's Nova, so he's got like some cool stuff. So when you're attacking, he like lights up and stuff. So he's fun to he's good eye candy on the screen.
Well, that's awesome. I can't wait to play as Nova. My kids and I watch Ultimate Spider-Man all the time, so anybody from that playset. Venom, for me, is one of the top ones I want to play. Any of the big ones, Venom or Hulk, I just want to smash something.
Yeah. Well, I think Venom was definitely good because he smashes stuff, and he's got the cool swing. Like, it's just fun swinging around the levels. I know I'm giving a shout out to Stuart here, or Crazy by Nick, but after watching him play as Spider-Man, oh my goodness, I've waited. I'm gonna wait to play as Spider-Man once the game comes out, but people are gonna have a blast. He's way fun to maneuver through levels with.
That's awesome, and I love how passionate you are about this project that you're working on. So it's great to see that, and I know everybody's gonna love it once this game comes out. So I think the last thing we're just gonna talk about real quick is Toy Box Summit is coming up in. Now it is 2 weeks, so you will be one of the 5 mentors that are going to be there. So that's pretty cool. Are you excited about that?
Yeah, I have a hard time deeming myself a mentor, but yes, we are.
That's very cool. So if the Toy Box artists have been selected to go to that, I will be there. So it'd be cool to hang out with you in person. Looking forward to that. And the other way to get in there is the Movie Magic Contest, which they have not announced the winners yet, but I've seen a lot of the entries, and they're fantastic. If you want to check out a couple of those, you can find that on DisneyInfinityFans.com in the Movie Magic Contest topic. and you'll just have a blast watching them because people really made movies out of this game. And I mean, it could easily be a Saturday morning cartoon or weekly web series where you can just watch movies made from Disney Infinity. It's fantastic. So that's our show for this week. Thanks everybody for joining us. Thank you DisneyInfinity.tv for allowing this podcast to happen, and DisneyInfinityFans.com. Like I said, come visit. If you have any ideas for a show or you have any questions, you can find me on the forums and let me know, or you can comment on this video, and let me know what you want to see for future episodes, because I'm doing this for you guys, and hope everybody enjoyed it. And like I always say, the possibilities are infinite. And thanks for joining us. And thanks, Mr. Tide Force Tyler Cole, for being here. Did you have a good time?
Oh, I had a great time. It was awesome going over these things.
Well, you were an awesome guest, and you are welcome anytime. Thanks for coming on the show.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, the possibilities are infinite. See you next time. Bye-bye.